today I have here with me Marga Gomez. She is a writer and performer in 13 solo plays. She has been acting in the Vagina Monologues, and she had a guest role in the Netflix series Sense8. And then when the pandemic hit, she was pivoting to live streaming. And today we're going to talk about first part about a bit about her life, her work, and then how that was for her to go and change to live streaming. So, hello, Marga.
Hello, Marcus.
Welcome.
This is so exciting.
Yeah.
It's great. You do the like we're in the screens, yeah. The overlays, all of it. I love it. The sweater that apparently you're saying there's nothing wrong with is.
Yeah,
I'm finding much symbolism.
Okay. Often if you buy merch and then people put their name big there, and how would you wear it every day? And this one is just the fun Christmas
song. Yes. Too many logos for sure.
Yeah, and we have John
San
here.
Francisco.
San Francisco. So, Marga, are you ready for Christmas, or do you celebrate Christmas?
Good questions. I am ready for Christmas because I do not get into Christmas too much. Okay. Although this is the first year that I did get a tree. And as you see, I got a DVD of a fireplace that's turning blue, I guess, in my Elgato key lights. But I got a tree this year. So I do feel, and it may be because of, the strange times we're in, that I wanted to go and get something nostalgic. So it's just a little tree, like a Charlie Brown Christmas tree, but it smells good. I pretend that it's my plant, and I spritz it with water, and you know that when you have one of those cut trees, they tell you to put sugar in the water. Did you ever hear that?
I never heard that. Okay, so I will do that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Might be too late. Yeah, I put sugar in my coffee and in my tree.
Okay. So everybody wakes up the tree and you. Okay. So, Margaret, it's so nice to have you here. I think we have very many interesting things we can talk about. We probably can't hit them all, but you're initially from New York, from Harlem, and the entertainment.
Well, actually, it's Washington Heights, which is a very famous neighborhood now. So we should, name drop the famous Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Okay.
So but Harlem. It could also be called Harlem. Yes.
Okay, that's what my research.
I like them both.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, and entertainment was not far from your birth, because your father was a comedian from Cuba and your mother an exotic dancer from Puerto Rico. So did you ever think you would maybe become an accountant?
I wish. Oh my gosh. If I could just start over again, I would totally be an accountant. Is my mic too loud, by the way? I'm just not quite sure if it's, I think you can look at the settings there. Yeah, let us know.
Yeah.
So I'll turn it down if it's too loud. But actually, I thought that I would be in show business when I was little, because when my parents were married, they were married for 12 years, and they should have gotten divorced after one, but they stayed married for me. Yeah. And so I was always around, entertainers. And then when they divorced, I moved to a white neighborhood, because we were living in a very Latino neighborhood where my parents were celebrities, moved to a white neighborhood with my mother. And then I realized, oh, there's really, I don't see a lot of Latinos in on TV and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then I started to think that I would be a teacher. And then I went with that for a long time. I would be a teacher. I was always into creative writing. And then I wound up coming out. My parents found out that I'm a lesbian, and I left New York. I was 19, went to San Francisco, didn't even know what would happen. And there was this whole like very counterculture, avant-garde performance scene. It wasn't at all like what you'd see on TV, but there were audiences, and that's how I really somehow circled back to what I thought I'd be doing when I was a kid.
Okay, so you said you were coming out, and in the next sentence you said you were moving. Is that related?
Yes, when my parents found out, and I had this joke in my act, all about coming out, because I started performing as an out lesbian comedian, and there was a whole scene in San Francisco for that. But basically, yes, my parents discovered that my friend was my girlfriend, and then they freaked out in a very dramatic, scary way. And so I didn't know how to dialogue. They didn't have skills. We didn't have those skills where I think, parents have a little bit more information now. So my parents just, even though, they're in show business, so a lot of their friends were gay, they freaked out on me. And then it was just like, I'm out of here. And my girlfriend at the time was going to drive to California. So I just went. Okay. I had like very little money, and everything worked out for me.
Okay. How old were you when that happened?
19.
19. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I didn't finish college.
Okay. Yeah,
but I learned a lot. I learned. I don't think you have to finish because there are so many ways to educate yourself. So yeah. So I was in college for creative writing, and I've written 13 plays. So I think I figured something out.
Yeah. But with 19, you had this maybe a bit traumatic experience, and then you moved, and your whole world just changed.
Yeah, it was like paradise. San Francisco in in the late 70s, in the 80s, it was just everyone, you could live without a lot of money. There was, people paid cheap rent. There was rent control and all this stuff. So it was almost like everybody was an artist. The first job I had was in a restaurant. I lied, and I told them that I was a cook in New York.
Okay.
And I still have scars from like burned eggs on my arms. And everyone in the restaurant was a dancer, a sculptor, a writer, a performance artist. And they would ask me, what do you do? And I go, I make omelets. And then I wound up seeing this theater company, and I was like making the muffins. It was like 7 a.m. And I saw one of the actresses from the theater company walking by, and I ran out of the kitchen with my apron. I said, how can I be in your company? I want to audition. They told me when their auditions were. I got in, and I think I was now about 20 or 21, and I was on a tour of Europe with this theater company. And we performed in Switzerland, in Germany, in Italy, in Rome. And I was like, 20, 21. If 20,
the world is yours.
The world was fine, and I was making a living at it. And ever since then, it's just one thing led to another. Then I came back to San Francisco, did more plays. Then the comedy boom started here. Robin Williams started here, Ellen DeGeneres, and I started going to the clubs. And yeah, so it was really unplanned. I just always tried to enjoy what I was doing and take whatever opportunity that presented itself.
It's fascinating. Okay. And then you also did stand-up comedy yourself,
Yes, yes, I did.
but that's hard.
Well, well, my father was a comedian, so
Okay.
and the first time I was ever on stage, I was 7 years old. In my parents, like in the shows that they would do, they would have like these beautiful theaters with like that would fill like 1,000-seat theaters with all the Latinos who were coming to New York, and I was in their comedy sketch. Like they would have bands like Tito Puente and all the famous musicians of the day. And then they would have a comedy sketch in the middle. And I got a part. My father put me in the show because he didn't have to pay me. And
Okay.
my job was to walk our Chihuahua onto the stage. It was, no lines. Oh my gosh, I forgot what the question. That's so me.
No, yeah, we're just talking. You didn't.
Yes, but I was going to make some great point, and then
Yeah. The question was, it's
oh,
hard to do stand-up.
comedy.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, yeah, because you have to remember things.
Okay.
So I wasn't afraid of being on stage, but
Okay.
becoming a good stand-up comedian is scientific. It's you're trying to create jokes, and jokes are like little math problems. They have to have a surprise. They have to be economical. And so I started doing that at open mics. We had a lot of them in the 80s here in San Francisco. And Robin Williams would drop in, and he was,
Wow.
already getting famous.
Of course.
And yeah, there was one time he went on. I was next in the open mic, and he showed up. He did 20 minutes, and then I went on. And people just, as soon as they saw, Robin's act was over, people just started leaving. And that's what it was
Yeah, of
early
course.
on. Was they call it paying your dues, and eventually, these cabarets opened up in San Francisco that were inclusive for gay people and people of color. And I started performing there, and the audience was very hungry for a different kind of comedian,
Okay.
as opposed to, and Robin actually became a friend of mine, but those clubs were very mainstream, and
Of course.
they made jokes about Latinos, they made jokes about women, they made jokes about gay people, and then these clubs opened up that were about us, where we weren't the punchline anymore. And I started making money as a comedian, and then there was a circuit of similar kindred spirits, and I started playing all over the country. And yeah, I mean, it's vast. I mean, I could go on and on, but so the idea about being a comedian is you have to put in the work, you have to keep your notebook, and you have to go on stage as much as you can.
Of course.
So you get your rhythm, you keep your rhythm.
Yeah. And I guess the audience knows no mercy. If they don't find you funny, they show it to you. Or...
It depends.
Okay.
It depends. I played in the UK,
Yeah.
and that audience is very tough
Okay.
because they like things a certain way. They like everything very dry. And I tend to be sort of a big presence. And the style now in stand-up is very understated. It's very throwaway. It's, I'm actually much more comfortable doing storytelling and the plays that I do, because I can be funny in them, but I can also be vulnerable. I can be more of who I am and give people something that they remember. And stand-up comedy is really cool, but it's kind of it's like appetizers you have with your drinks,
Okay. Yeah.
and you can have a good time that night, but then you can forget exactly what what you heard, because it wasn't about,
Okay.
it wasn't about your heart.
Okay. And being gay in that time, was that hard in the show business, or was it already progressive in these circles? Or?
Oh, thanks. That's a great question. We're talking about the 80s. So it was, yeah, it was hard in mainstream show business. Ellen DeGeneres is very famously LGBT now. She was in the closet until she got so famous that she wasn't going to, lose money. But a lot of comedians that were famous were gay. They just kept it a secret. And I have to say, on one hand, it was hard if you wanted to get into television, if you wanted the mainstream success. On the other hand, I started making a living being a comedian because there was this underground, this underground circuit for people who, they could be straight, they could be gay, they could be people of color, but they just wanted something different than what Hollywood was presenting. So through that, I actually started making a good living. And then when I did my plays, these got produced at off Broadway in New York, and I started making money from that. Then I got an agent from a creative artists agency, and I got into a couple of movies. So the money was kind of really good especially in the 90s. And I had this manager, and then I lived in LA, and I did that whole thing.
Yeah, and you just embraced it, and that opened different kind of possibilities then.
Yeah, it did. But still, I found, and now it could be different, but I found that back then, navigating through the Hollywood industry and going out for these auditions, and of course being Latina, I went out for a couple of maid auditions. But I just found that I didn't like going to the meetings with the television companies, and and it was nice because they did give you free soda, and they did bring you all the Diet Coke you wanted, only Diet Coke, no sugar. But just sitting around and talking to the suits, right? I don't know if you know that, Marcus. That's what we call the industry people from all the agencies and all the networks.
The suits,
and the suits.
Yeah, okay.
And they would always tell me, can you soften up your look? And I was already like, I thought I was wearing this like very ladylike outfit, but they were like these. I remember I had these pants were rubber. And I thought, I don't understand. These pants cost like $200, but they were rubber. And so I don't know what they wanted me to, but they wanted me to be the Latina, they wanted me to be the Latina Whoopi Goldberg. And I've met Whoopi Goldberg, and she's not soft, but they just, yes, it was hard to be gay and make it in my career. But the biggest obstacle is being a woman in this very male-dominated industry.
Yeah, okay.
That's like above everything. It's about being a woman, because you can't be anything but what the box that they put you in. It's a little better now, but of course, the Harvey Weinsteins and all that, these were, this is what was, they were just running wild when I was in LA. Yeah.
Yeah. But it changed a bit there. Or...
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
People are, more careful and cautious, and yet it's still going to continue.
It's just more subtle then, or...
Yeah, and I don't, that's such a can of worms to to start talking about the sexual harassment. But anyway, but I guess just to boil it down to, it is to be a woman and to be working in this industry. And I would think any industry rising above, it's like it's like the last frontier to
Okay.
be successful as a woman.
Okay. Yeah, but you made your way. So
Yeah. Yeah, I feel very blessed. I feel very blessed with my life. The last job I had really was making those omelets, and then one thing led to another. And I've always believed in sort of a charmed life, sort of destiny, sort of the universe, giving me these chances. And every time I have gotten further, I've just always felt like I'm doing this for my parents
okay.
because they were a really big deal in outside of the mainstream. And then their world changed with the changes in society for Latinos and Latino medium and live medium media and
Yep.
live shows. So I wouldn't change a thing.
Okay. Did you go back to your parents, or did you repair the relationship there? Or?
Yeah, I did. Unfortunately, my parents passed away too
okay.
soon. But I did, when I went to San Francisco this is weird, but when they found out I was gay, and then I just got in my girlfriend's Volkswagen hatchback, and we drove across country. I don't know how to drive, so she did the driving, so that caused tension. But I didn't talk to my parents for 2 years.
Okay.
Because I'm kind of a coward. Like, some people look at me and it's like, oh, Marga, you've been out of the closet and you're an outspoken woman and a Latina and all this stuff. But when it comes to my parents, I don't know if it's a Latino thing, but they're just, they scared me. So I didn't know how to have the conversation. So I just didn't talk to them in 2 years. And then finally they reached out. I reached out, and
Okay.
unfortunately, they had divorced, but even separately, their lives didn't turn out so great, and they only had a few years left.
Oh.
Didn't know it. So I would say my advice would be, if you have a falling out with people
Fix
and
it
your
while you
family,
can.
fix it.
Yeah.
just talk.
Yeah.
Have just drink if you need to, but
Yeah.
smoke it, take a hit off a pipe, but talk, just don't let too much time pass.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and then you did this 13 solo plays, and you
Yes.
wrote them yourself.
I wrote them. Yes, I wrote them myself. I worked with one main director, David Schweitzer, and I've known him since the 90s, and he brought my plays to the level where they opened off Broadway several times at the Public Theater. Worked with George C. Wolfe. It's pretty amazing trailblazer, and I am actually going to be working on my 14th, which will premiere in March in San Francisco. I got a grant to create it, and can I talk about how things have been doing
course.
this during the pandemic?
Of course.
So my 13th one-person show is called Spanking Machine, and and it's about Catholic school. just so nobody
Is
gets
it
too excited.
autobiographic?
Oh, it is. Yeah, they've all been autobiographical, but I also teach how to create your own story as a solo theater piece. But I had this one. I was going to stop doing solo theater after my 12th one-person show, which was called Latin Standards, and it was about my father and the songs that he, besides being a comedian and impresario, he was also a songwriter, and that was a very, very successful piece. And then And then this next one just kind of happened. I got this commission and they said, we need you to write a solo play. And I said, oh, I'm going to write a play for 2 actors. And they said, well, can you just do the parts, both parts? I went, okay, because they were paying me. And it was this festival where they don't want the finished product. They want you to bring in the script and read it. It's called the Cold Read Festival, Syracuse Stage in New York. They gave me money to work on the play. They hired a director of my choosing, and I worked with this young Latino director, amazing, Adrian Alia, and we developed the show Spanking Machine. And it turned out to be about so much more than 2 Catholic school kids in Washington Heights in the 60s. It turned out to be a lot about sexual trauma, really. Okay. But there was a lot of funny stuff in it, and then there was a lot of stuff in it. And it was going to open, and it turned out that was the first day of the lockdown in San Francisco. Yeah. And so the status was postponed. And then it became clear that this lockdown could go on forever. And that's when I got into, while stores were still open, I started buying my first live streaming gear. And then I started looking on YouTube for information on how can I present my work online. And a lot of what I found was the people from Ecamm, Doc Rock. I found Luria, and that's how I met you, Marcus.
Yes.
And yes, and then, but a lot of the nuts and bolts about streaming, surprisingly, for someone who's fallen away from the church, came from church people.
Oh,
the church people that were part of the Ecamm community. So many wonderful church people. And it's, I don't see a lot of churches like the one. I went to a very, very strict Catholic school in Manhattan, but these were very loving, very inclusive church people. And they were definitely very proactive about finding out the best cameras and the best audio and how to get the bandwidth to reach their, I don't want to count followers. I think you call them followers, right?
Yeah,
the people who go to
English
the church,
is not my first language, so we go with your definition.
The people in the observers, I don't know. Their community, let's say. And so I learned a lot, a little bit from gamers, but I mean, I watched everything. And even now, instead of Netflix, I'll just go to YouTube and I'll watch like tutorials about microphones. I love microphones. I hope this one sounds good to everyone.
Sounds good to me. And I didn't have any complaints until now.
So I wound up, thank you. I wound up streaming Spanking Machine to theaters in New York and I would love to stream my work to Europe and to other countries, but not Europe is a continent, right? Wait, is Europe a continent? To Switzerland, to Germany, to the UK, to Spain, to Portugal, to Thailand, to the Philippines, to South America. I would love to stream my work to the, I would love to translate it. I would love to learn how to speak all the languages and perform in different countries. But right now, I'm just working on different time zones in the United States. And my 14th one-person show is perhaps, since we're looking at Omicron happening again, if it doesn't open, my backup plan is to create it as an audio play, a radio play. And that's what I got the grant for, was to make it a radio play. Okay. So I've made a little recording studio in my bedroom. Wow. I got this new refrigerator and I asked the delivery men, can I have the box that the refrigerator came in? And according to every tutorial I've seen, this is not going to work, but it sounds different to me when I go in there. So, so I'm going to create all the characters and play all the different characters and just do an audio prototype of it. It's called Imaginary Friends. And it's very strange because it is about how we feel when we're isolated and we're in lockdown and we can't hug another person.
I need to hear
so
this. I need to hear this.
Yes. And it's going to be sort of a cross between Mr. Rogers and Pee Wee Herman. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So, but you said the pandemic hit and then you went to live streaming. Was that was that your first thought to, or how did you find that as a solution?
I think really it was from watching what the church communities were doing. And it's like, well, they are reaching their followers. Everybody was doing Zoom. Zoom is, people just really react poorly to Zoom. They feel depressed right away. But so now I just, I thought Zoom would be fun. So the first things I started doing was with the theater where we had to cancel the live show, that first weekend was completely sold out. And then other nights, it was going to be a 4-week run, 4 shows a week. And what people did, which, people have been really kind to this theater and a lot of theater is instead of taking their money back, they kept the money. They let the theater keep the money. The theater paid me. The theater still keeps me on a stipend. And I talk to them about ways to create a hybrid so that we can do performances for a smaller attendance and then stream it out. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do for the theater. But
Fantastic.
We did it that way. And I didn't know very much about my computer. My computer was just full. It was full. The hard drive was full. And so sometimes things would freeze and go poorly. I wound up getting a Mac Mini, M1 Mac Mini. Things much better that way. I wound up yelling at my internet provider and they got me a better speed. And then I sort of got known by theaters that were bringing in live streaming shows that I knew what I was doing. And so, so it went to LA, to San Diego, and I would stream it live. And then it wasn't to Zoom. It was on platforms like Hopin. It was like, I do the show because my shows are a combination of fourth wall, where I create a scene and I play different characters, and then just talking to the audience. And so then I learned, that the audience is just one person on the other side of that lens. And so I kept afloat by getting these gigs, performing, and having people say, and this was the greatest thing, Marcus, they would say after seeing one of my shows, I developed I adapted a couple of other live shows for virtual, and they would say, I felt like I was in the theater. And that's the best thing I could hear.
That was the thing I was wondering. So the one side is you had to learn how does it work technically and everything, and that's just a learning curve. You can do that, but did you have to adapt some things, or does theater work with live streaming?
Yes. What I really got into green screens. In fact, on the other side of this camera is a wall that I completely taped green paper, chroma key green paper, and it's about 10 feet wide. And then I had my theater, Brava Theater, they gave me a couple of extra lights, so I hit those on the screen. So I actually developed some pretty good green, because it's, green screen when it's not done well
Yeah.
is very depressing. But this was pretty good. Like I didn't have any of the, the ghost hand or anything like that. And so I was able to enhance the stories I was telling with
Okay.
images. And because they were stories about my life, I found images of the neighborhood that I grew up in, high quality images. I had a virtual background of a theater that the proportion was really great. So it looked like I was on stage in a 99th seat black box theater.
Cool.
And people just, they just started to go with it. I didn't use a microphone like this. I set up two dynamic mics, which apparently are not the best because they say, oh, you hear the air, but they worked fine. The audio was good.
Yeah.
And then I had the Sony A5100. At first, when I started streaming, I was using my house lights, and I had this, I looked kind of like a mango. I look like a mango. But then I got the key lights, and I got a better lens, and I got I got one of those Sony ZV-E10s before. I guess now they're not available because of the chip shortage. So people were like, I really feel like what I did was I showed everyone who is not able to perform because they don't have the means. I think I showed them what you can do because I really feel it's important to keep theater alive.
Yeah. But the technical thing is the one. But how did you? If you're in the theater, you have the atmosphere and you have a kind of feedback from the audience, and now you just have a lens, the camera.
Yeah.
So how did you work with that?
It made me a better performer. I don't call myself an actor because I feel like I am just I'm with you and I'm sharing and I'm a storyteller, you know. But I have to trust. And I think that that's really useful for any actor is to trust your story and to be inside your story and to know that you're not alone. And the scariest part, Marcus, is always when, I get to the end. They're like usually about 70 minutes long at the end. And then I go into, sometimes there's a chat, right? And then I find out, oh, the stream worked because you don't know.
Okay.
You could be, it could have ended like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, of course.
You don't know if the internet went down. So it's like, or your sound, or your picture got pixelated. But then, at the end, it's the most exciting thing. It's like, oh, you loved it? Yes. And you heard it? Yes. And my face looked okay. I try to set up the camera so that it's usually probably waist up. And then I also have like levels, like I have some platforms where I can get, I can change the perspective of the camera. I also worked with not this kind of Stream Deck. I worked with the Stream Deck app on my phone so that I could change the virtual backgrounds, which was really fun. So I created the scenes on Ecamm, which I don't know if everybody knows that we love the Ecamm software.
Most viewers will know.
Yeah, it's like OBS. Yeah. And so you're just able to really do a one-person show if you've got the right remote and you set everything up precisely. I even would have sound effects, and I didn't know if they were drowning me out. But you gotta practice and rehearse. Yeah. The other great thing about it is that since I don't have a director, I have to see what when I rehearse, I play it back, and so I can make adjustments too for the performance.
Yeah, but so you did a whole production by yourself from your home. That's pretty terrific. I mean, we don't even if television does it, they have hundreds of people. But even if smaller productions would have one guy for the light and one for the sound, and you did it all yourself.
I did with what with what I learned from just going on the internet, and then and we just have our mentors who we see how they do it, and they share that knowledge for free.
Yeah.
For free. You can learn everything for free. I just want to, if I can just stop talking about me for a second.
Of course.
I want to tell you, Marcus, I am so thrilled that when we met, was it in this year? Was
April,
it April?
Lida, yeah.
Seems so long ago.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was your first Lida,
yes.
Was it?
Yes.
And you were saying how you wanted to do get a channel, and you wanted to do a live, and look at you, look at you, sir. Yeah, you look fantastic.
Thank you. And that's the thing with
you'd have the camera down here. Hello, like hello.
Yeah, but that's the thing with this community. We help each other out, and we say each other, go and do it. The support in technical questions is a part of it, but more important is to encourage one another, and that's happening very much here. Yeah.
When you sang at the end of that Lida, and you sang 99 Balloons,
yeah,
I'm sure I couldn't have been the only one who had tears of joy. You did it so good. You sang it in German, right?
Yeah, I did that in German, and then I did
hot.
And then I did a version of My Way, but with Lida, yeah. But I think that's the we have to lean into it. I would never say that I'm a good singer, and I don't have to be, but with the enthusiasm and just say, okay, let's go and do it. That's where you find the success in that. But yeah, I mean,
you showed up on everyone's. It's just like you showed up on everyone's stream. I don't know how you did it. Sometimes you went without sleep. People were concerned. It's like Marcus hasn't slept in 30 days. Yeah, what's he gonna do?
Yeah, we have Lala here. She does the same.
Lala is amazing. Yeah, she's genius. You're genius, Lala, and Heart. Yes. Hey, looks like we're getting some comments. I'm not wearing my glasses because I keep getting this. Let's see here. I'm going to put my. Oh, now there's nothing.
No, so we had Sandy who was asking, how do we find out about the live show if it happens? And and then also, of course, if the live show doesn't happen, where do we find out about? So I have your website here. Can we find it here? Or?
And indeed, Marga has a website, yes. And but I have to tell you all that the website needs to be updated. Actually, the live show is going to be in June. I got mixed up. I'm going to be in a play if Omicron gets handled. But I'm going to be in a play that opens. It's a very big major theater here in San Francisco. I'm not supposed to announce it yet, but so that's going to be my February, March, April, and May, and then in June I'm going to open my own play at Brava Theater. So if you kind of save the date and think June, and I will
just think June, yeah.
Yeah, it's too early to put anything on. I'm trying to think of what December 30th. If you could go to my YouTube channel. I started a second YouTube channel called Latina Stream Queens. I think it's my name. If my name caption shows up. Maybe it doesn't. Well, It's Latina Stream Queens on YouTube.
Maybe
I'll be
Lala
doing-
could find the link. We try.
She'll find the link.
Okay.
Yes. Oh, that would be great. Yeah. So that's going to be on the 30th. And it's called Ex-Girlfriend's Happy Hour. And my ex-girlfriend from the 80s is going to actually come to my apartment, and we're going to sit here, and we're just going to chat and answer questions. She's a comedian as well and a playwright. And then we're going to, maybe get back together. I don't know.
And see, Lala, she is truly a superstar.
Lala,
she
you're
already
amazing.
found it. So here is the link to the channel. Okay, and that is today in a week, the 30th. Yeah. Yeah, perfect.
Everything is so much better with glasses on. I just, you have to tilt down, because if I go up, this happens.
Yeah,
Don't
of
like
course.
that. So you have to keep your head down. It's really like, you're supposed to look natural, but when you wear glasses, it's not natural at all, right?
Yeah,
You
have to.
don't have any reflection in your glasses. How do you do that?
Yeah, that's because I put the light to the wall, and the wall puts it back. And then
Oh, I've got to try that.
yeah, it just has to be a bit stronger than directly. And then we have Lala, maybe in California in June. So let her know.
Yes. Oh, that would be so great to meet you. Yes, and then Lala said that when I go to the Philippines, that we're going to paint the town red.
Perfect. Yeah, and so the 30th of December. So we're gonna check that out. Do you already know the time or?
Oh yes, thank you for asking. It'll be so Christmas Eve. No, New Year's Eve, and it'll be at 6 p.m. West Coast time. So I don't know. I think that's in the middle of your sleeping time for sure. But we'll keep. It'll stay up on Latina Stream Queens. It'll stay up.
Okay, but yeah, I'll try to be there. That sounds very fun. And
Julie, hi Julie.
yeah, now you see all the comments since you're wearing the glasses.
Oh yes.
Yeah, and normally I stream each Thursday, but I'm not sure if I'm streaming next week because maybe we're going away a bit, and so I didn't ask any guest. And if I stream, that means I have to talk all by myself. But I will have to do that someday. So. Maybe we start then.
I would. You know what? I'd watch that stream.
Okay.
Yeah.
Me too.
But if you stream by yourself, you know that you're going to have to sing 99 Balloons and My Way.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know if.
Just do all songs.
All songs. Yeah. Some song requests. For people who have a very high tolerance for missed notes, we can do that.
Although we can't really. I don't understand the copyright strikes on YouTube, so I've got this. Like, I think you sing the song lyrics to Epidemic Sound. Just take anything from Epidemic Sound.
I don't know how fun that will be, but yeah. But
my fireplace is not looking.
It's looking nice, but not really like a fireplace.
It's looking like something else, right?
It looks like the fire is burning with water intermingled. Very special.
I think it's like a light show. You ever hear of those?
Light show, yeah, of course.
Psychedelic, it's like a light show. Yeah, that's what I meant to do.
Something psychedelic going on there.
Hello, Anna.
Oh no!
Oh, this is great having glasses.
You're just coming to catch the end, because we're almost an hour, and Marga said an hour is sometimes a bit long, so we could keep it like therapy, where you do
Yes.
50 or 45, and you pay for the hour, but you don't get an hour.
Dr. Marcus, I feel much better now. Thank you so much.
Okay.
I'll Venmo you. Watch for my Venmo.
I will send you the bill. So, no, but that was so great, and I had so much fun, and it was very interesting. Thank you very, very much for doing this with me here.
I'm counting this as my Vlogmas Day 23. How about you?
Okay, I didn't do Vlogmas this year, but yeah, why not? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I feel like a lot of people just decided not to do it this year.
Yeah, I do this YouTube thing in my free time, and I didn't think I have the energy for December this year. But yeah, there's always next year.
I wonder if I could share the one. Nah, that'll never work. I made a video. It was today. It was like my favorite thing I did all month.
And
A
where
Vlogmas
did
video.
where did you pull it?
Well, it should be like if I was really good at Ecamm, I should be able
Ecamm
to
channel.
just put it into my scene. But I'm just not that good at Ecamm. I'm working with two
Yeah,
monitors.
just
I bought
tell
it.
people to find it. Is it on the Ecamm Facebook group or on your YouTube channel?
Oh,
or-
it's on the Ecamm. Yeah, it's on the Ecamm Live. But I did it's about, you know how when you see the B-roll, they take the B-roll from Canva or Storyblocks, and you see those actors, and I don't know why people use that because they just look so bad. You know,
course.
it's like even some of the Epidemic Sound people, it's like, oh, you didn't make it in Real Music, so now you're going to be on And these are actors who could never really get a part,
Yeah, of course.
you know, and now, but they're stock actors. So I did a tutorial on how to be a Canva stock actor.
Your very own stock actor. Okay.
Yeah, I was my
I
own
will
stock
go and
actor.
look for that. That's good.
It's a lot of hands, like, why?
Hey, come on, you. Okay. So yeah, but I guess that's it because I can't do the whole hour. Just bill you for the whole hour, or you
Well,
bill
thank
me.
you. Oh, right. Okay. No, I would pay you. And I'm just waiting for, a check to come in, and then
Yeah.
you'll see it.
Okay.
Marcus, I adore you.
Yeah. Likewise.
And I think that you have taught me a lot.
It's
in
an
the
honor
times-
if I did taught you anything. Yeah. And you
Yeah,
are an
no, I think-
inspiration.
You are back
Okay.
at you, and you're so funny,
Wow.
and yay! And I subscribed. Latina Stream Queens is your subscriber.
Perfect. Yeah, I need to go get 100 for the custom channel link, but it will happen soon. No worries. Okay. So that's it for today. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. If you're watching in the replay, let us know in the comments. And thank you very much, Marga. And yes, is this the greeting of the Queen that you did?
It's a Latina Stream Queen. Oh my God! You see how you are? Oh my gosh! Thank you,
Okay.
Marcus. Another gem. All right.
We go out with that. Thank you. Bye.